Hey everybody, Mike Freedman from 30 Days of Technology back with day 10. Oh boy, am I excited. We're going to be talking about one of my favorite things in the entire world, vinyl records and turntables. To say that I'm a bit of a music nut is an understatement. I've got over 3,000 records. I spend a lot of time listening to vinyl, and don't get me wrong, I still love listening to digital music. Heck, we did an episode on Apple Music yesterday. But at the end of the day, when I'm done working, one of my favorite things to do is to go into my living room, pick out a nice record, put my feet up, and just get lost in the music. There's something inexplicably magic about a vinyl record. Maybe it's the nostalgia. Some of us grew up listening to records and on our grandparents' knees while they played records for us. And for those of us who have grown to become audiophiles, it's about the sound quality as well. So there's so many wonderful things to like about the vinyl listening experience. Obviously, one of the things you're definitely going to need when you get started is a record player. I think this is probably the most comprehensive part of the conversation because there's so many different flavors. There's what we call an all-in-one. You see companies like Crosley do this, where it's like a briefcase. It's got a speaker in it, it's got an amplifier, and it's ready to go. These things start about $50, they go to about $150, and it's a great solution to get started if space is an issue. But I do want to caution you, the sound quality you're going to get from one of these is not going to justify the cost of buying the vinyl. And to that point, those record players, while good, are not known to be great to your vinyl collection. So if you start buying $30 and $40 records and playing it on that for a year or two, and then upgrade to better equipment, you may not realize the advantage of vinyl because you may have created damage to your record. So that's the only thing I want to caution you against. Now, I break it down into two separate flavors of turntable. There's what I call your entry level, and then I call your premier experience. It's kind of like vehicles. If you are into higher end things and you have a high end system, you can buy whatever turntable you want and realize great results. However, if you have a very basic system, you can spend 10 grand on a turntable and it's not really going to make your sound system sound any better. That being said, I'm a source first kind of guy, so anytime you add a better source, you are going to improve your overall experience. It's a question of how much you choose to invest. And where I go with that as an analogy, you can spend $10,000 in a car and you can buy $10,000 tires for the car. It doesn't make it into a $100,000 sports car. So think about what level you choose to invest at to make sure you get the right experience. I love entry-level turntables. Companies like REGA, Project, and Audio-Technica are definitely leading the way. I've owned all three brands in my lifetime. I think they're great products. They're an easy way to get into the game, and they're not going to cost you a ton of money. So it's a really simple thing to do. The other thing I like about a lot of the entry-level projects and REGAs and Audio-Technicas is that they have some features that make them a little bit more forgiving to newer users. So my VPI turntable in my living room is really finicky. Whereas some of these entry-level turntables are simple to work with and very forgiving, and some are even automated where you simply press a button, the needle and the tone arm lifts up, drops down in the right place. You don't have to worry about being too shaky and getting it in the right spot. So now, you've gone out and you bought yourself a turntable. The next question is, what are you going to hook that thing up to? Here's where I go with that. If you're hooking it up to a lot of conventional speakers or a lot of conventional audio equipment, you'll need a phono preamplifier, an external phono preamplifier. The signal output from a turntable is not a lot of power. It's not enough that a lot of newer equipment will register it. Now, some equipment has a phono preamplifier built in, but a lot of people are hooking it up to surround sound receivers and equipment that simply doesn't have that feature anymore. So you can buy an external amplifier, and it literally takes the signal coming out of the turntable and amplifies it. These things start at $35. You can spend $35,000. I tend to think a sweet spot's between $100 to $300. But the point is this: turntable to preamp, preamp to receiver or amplifier, record goes on, and boom, you're listening to vinyl. But just be aware that you need that. A lot of turntables, unless they have it built in, will not allow the system to work directly out of the box. So now that we've talked a little about how to look at some of the different turntables out there and the phono preamp, the last thing left to do is just to hook the thing up and start playing and start listening. Now, when it comes to records, you can get newer records, you can buy older records. the nice thing is you could take a 40-year-old record, clean it up, and it sounds just as good as a brand new record. So that's really all you need to pick out which kind of turntable, which logic of turntables you're going with, which kind of amplifier you're going to go with to get the power from the turntable to your receiver or other audio source. And that's it. It's really, really simple. Now, that being said, I've really simplified it and broken it down. I could probably spend 16 hours talking about different types of turntables. My recommendation for you is this. If you're really thinking about getting into vinyl, a couple things. Number one, think about the budget you want for vinyl. If you're buying only 1 or 2 records a month, perfectly fine. If you're buying only 1 or 2 records a year, probably not worth the expense of getting into vinyl. And my other piece of advice to you is if you have some questions about this and you're thinking about spending more than about $350 on a turntable, go talk to a reputable hi-fi shop. Most good hi-fi stores will be happy to sell you a turntable, even if it's only an entry-level turntable, because they recognize people have to start somewhere. So they're a great resource for information. And the other asset that they bring to the table is they have a lot of knowledge on how to set these things up, how to calibrate them, and how to make them work with the rest of your system. Heck, a good dealer will even show you how to make a turntable that plays a vinyl record that's 45 years old work with a brand new SONOS speaker that you just bought yesterday. So there you go. Lots about vinyl, lots more to talk about in future episodes, but we got through day 10, and I got through day 10 in under 4 hours. Magic. So thank you very much for tuning in. My name is Mike Freedman, aka the Technology Elf, and this has been 30 Days of Technology, day 10. Join us again tomorrow. And hey, if you've seen value in these videos, you've liked them, you've enjoyed them, please consider subscribing to our YouTube channel, liking this video, commenting in this video, sharing with your family or friends, and hey, just watch it a few times if you're really interested. Thanks so much for tuning in. I'll see you here tomorrow. Jingle bells, jingle bells, jingle all.